Okay, welcome back to another vid. This is an Xbox One pickups vid. I've got 6 games altogether, but kind of 5, or potentially 5. Let me explain. Actually, before I do, let me just give you a quick sneak preview so you can see if you like the games or not. There you go. Obviously, I think I've revealed a little bit too much there. I was exceedingly childish. I won't do that again. So the first one up is Crimes and Punishments. It's Sherlock Holmes on the Xbox One. They're all for the Xbox One, as I say. Now, this is the one I'm not sure if I'm going to be keeping or not. I don't know if this damage to the game is going to show up on camera, but let's see if it does. So, yeah, I bought this. Before I show you that, I'll tell you what happened. I saw it on eBay for $21.95. Buy it now. The guy or girl was selling maybe 10, 20 of them altogether. A few of them had been sold, and I thought, that's a decent price. Looks quite good. I have played it before, briefly, and I thought for $20, basically, $21.95, I'll buy it back. So I clicked on the Buy It Now button, funnily enough, and about a week later it arrived. Now, when it arrived, it was in a standard jiffy. I don't really have a problem with that because 99 times out of 100, it's going to be fine. But on this occasion, it wasn't, unless the seller sent it out like this. And because he's not getting back to me, maybe he did send it out like that, but we'll see. I'll talk about that, like I say, in a second. So here's the damage. I don't know if you can see it there, but it's just so bendy because it snapped. There's a big crack down the side there. The shrink wrap has started to come off. It is still sealed. And also on the sides, and this may be very difficult to work out, there's indentations there, which just looks a mess. It's almost like someone's got their thumb and just put it in there, or it's been rubbing against stuff, or bashed up against something. And it's not awful, but it's noticeable. And if you're going to have them on your shelf lined up, you know, not that we've got like art galleries or anything here, which people are going to come and look at, or contests that they're going to judge. But you don't want to pay, you know, any of your hard-earned money for something which arrives like this. You want it in good mint condition, especially if it's advertised as brand new, mint sealed and all the rest of it. So, paid the money, it arrived like this. I wasn't particularly happy, to say the least. I wasn't ranting and raving, I'm not bothered, you know what I mean? And I knew eventually, and do know that if I just persist with it through PayPal, I will get my money back, so it doesn't really matter. But around about 2 weeks ago, I sent the seller an email, and I just said, look, and friendly, of course, a friendly email, just said, I bought this, it's arrived with the crack down the side, this shrink wrap has started to come away, and there's indentations on the side, looks a bit of a mess, can you swap it for another one? I waited about 3 or 4 days, didn't hear back, sent a second email, said, sent you an email the other day, haven't heard back from you, do you have one I can swap it for, because the condition's not very good, and all the rest of it. Waited a week, still not heard back. This was about 3 or 4 days ago now, give or take. Sent the third email, still very polite, and just said, look, hi mate, bought this game off you. This time I attached some pictures. I said, as you can see, it's cracked down the side, indentations, the ceiling is starting to come away a little bit. And I said, can I either have a full refund, or I'm going to go straight to PayPal, or give me a partial refund? Because if he said, you know what, he or she, if they said, I'll give you $10 back, so I can get the game for $10, $11, $12, fair enough, I'll probably keep it. And if I'm that bothered about it, play it, finish it, or get far in it, then buy it back in mint condition from somewhere else, if I'm that bothered. So I hadn't heard back after I sent that email, so I opened a case up with PayPal, still not heard back from the seller, which makes me think that either they're just an idiot, or they know it's broken, can't be bothered to go through the whole process and rigmarole of giving me a refund, even though it could be done by the click of a button, doesn't want to give me a partial refund, or maybe just hasn't checked their emails, maybe they don't. They've got a lot of feedback, so you'd have thought, I mean, there's 2 ways of looking at it, isn't there? When someone's got a lot of feedback, is it the fact that they're too busy, you know, to look through all their feedback, their inboxes to reply to their emails? Or are they just lazy and just never check it? I don't know. So, either way, I'm not particularly pleased with that. Should get my money back from PayPal. Well, I will do. But then it begs the question, what's going to happen with this? Because the seller's not responding to me. I haven't got his address. So I'm probably going to get refunded. So am I going to get the game and the refund? Maybe the seller's not bothered. Maybe, like I say, they're looking at it thinking, can't be bothered with the hassle. Maybe they know it's in bad condition. They're just happy just to kiss goodbye to $20, $21, $22. Whatever. It's kind of weird, but so it could potentially be a free game. But I'd rather just have it in good condition, pay my $22, $21.95, and just have the good one in, you know, have the one in good condition and have it done with. So it's kind of frustrating, but whatever. And I haven't taken the sealing off it. I could do that, you know. And also, that's the other thing as well. For all I know, the CD could be damaged inside. And imagine if it is, and I open it, and then the seller will be like, well, I didn't send it like that, and it just could be a nightmare. And that's why I didn't want to take this sealing off, even though it started to come away. Because if I did that, it could give the seller more ammunition. So this way, not giving him any ammunition, thank you. I've got that. So I'm just going to keep it sealed until I know what's going on. And I'll either keep it or send it back or whatever. So that was a long-winded story about the first game. Now on to the games which I do have, which are in great condition and do work and I'm kind of playing. Apart from one, which is still sealed, I've just been busy. I've not bought it. I'm not going for a sealed collection or anything silly like that. I just haven't got around to it yet. And that game that I'm playing a lot of is Zombie Army Trilogy. It's made by Rebellion, you can see down there. Rebellion are the people who make Sniper Elite 3. It's basically the same game engine, the same game mechanics, the same look, the same feel, the same HUD. Everything about it is pretty much the same. There is an argument to say this could really have been DLC, because it is just a glorified version of DLC, basically. There's a few extra things in there. But it's a full-price game as well. If this was like $20, like one of the games I've got, which is like a retail price of $20, you'd probably think that's a really good deal and a good price. But full price, I mean, I'm playing it a lot. This is the thing, so I'm kind of getting my money's worth, so I can't really complain. But I'm not sure. I'm not really sold on the fact that this is a $45, $50, whatever it is, price game. Seems a little steep, if I'm honest. So, yeah, I'm really liking it, though. It's a game, really, if you're going to... I mean, you can play it offline. There's a single-player mode as well. It's like a horde mode, where you fight off waves of enemies. There's no real campaign to it as such, although there's kind of chapters which you can do on your own. But really, the point of the game is to take it online with other people. You can have up to 4 players playing. And when you're playing with 4 players, it makes it so much easier, particularly if obviously everyone's playing and doing teamwork. Because if you can have 4 people on a map on a team, but if everyone's running off and going down different directions and fending for themselves, you're not really going to get anywhere. If you stick to at least 2 or 3 of you, and the other one can maybe go off and do their thing, there's always one, isn't there? But if the majority, or ideally all of you, stick together, you'll probably complete it, even on the hard difficulty setting. But yeah, with one person, you've not really got much of a chance. 2 people, slim chance, but doable. I guess single player is doable, but you've got to be really good. 3 players minimum is what I'd say. 4 players is ideal, and that's the maximum you can have. So yeah, really enjoying it. I did actually record a gameplay video of this. I may upload it. If I do, I've got to add some commentary over the top. But the problem is, it's 45 minutes long. It's basically all but the first 3 seconds of a level, of one chapter that we completed. I think it was in 4-player mode as well, actually. Or we started it in 4. Maybe 1 or 2 people dropped out, I'm not sure. So, but it's a long video, 45 minutes. So I may edit that down, add some commentary, or I may just upload it all. I may not upload it at all. We'll see. So yeah, really enjoying that. It's a really good game. The only thing I'm not really certain about is the price. It does seem steep. Okay, speaking of steep prices, I paid pretty much retail for this. And it's Formula 1 2015. Now, I'm a very casual Formula 1 fan. I'm not a connoisseur of the sport. I watch it every now and again. I know a little bit about it, but if you had a quiz, or gave me a quiz, like asked me 20 questions, I'd get about 5 right. So, you know, I'm not that much into it. But when it comes to the driving games, I really like them and always have done, going back to, I guess, the Amiga. In fact, before that, I guess. I was going to say Amiga and ST, but even the 8-bit days of the Amstrad, Commodore 64, Spectrum, and all that kind of stuff. I just like a good driving game, a good Formula 1 game. Now, I didn't really get into this series on the 360 and the PS3. I had a couple of them, but just put it on once in a blue moon. And so far, that's all I've done with this. But again, just because I'm busy, I will get into it. The graphics are really good. The weather effects are fantastic. To me, it looks and plays a really good game. And I've had a few races now on, what is it, the Shanghai track, where you're racing at night with all the lights. It's lit up and it looks fantastic. So, yeah, really good game. Not really played it too much, but obviously the intention is, and I will eventually. So, really good game, really liking it. Next up is a game, another sports game, one which, again, just because I've been so busy lately, I've not played that much. But I want to get into it, of course, and it's Rory McIlroy PGA Tour. Now, Rory McIlroy is endorsing these PGA Golf EA games now, because, of course, Tiger Woods, his life and career has pretty much hit rock bottom. And it's just amazing. He's kind of gone from the sublime to the ridiculous. He's gone from the best golfer in the world to someone who's worse than me and you. He's rubbish. He's absolutely rubbish. I would beat, I'm not even joking, I would beat Tiger Woods at a round of golf blindfolded at this moment in time. And I actually believe, maybe I'm delusional, I actually believe I would. He's that bad. So Rory McIlroy has taken over the franchise now. Now, I've not played a great deal of this, like I say, and I was a little bit hesitant to buy it. And the reason why is because I've seen a couple of reviews, and before that quite a few previews and people talking about it, as you do in a preview. And a lot of people were saying how it's drastically cut down from previous PGA Tour games, Tiger Woods games. There's not that many courses, apparently. The character customization is apparently dreadful. And just a lot of gimmicks in there. Now, I've seen a few of these at first hand. I've not played it enough to know if there's a lot of courses, but I'm going to take people's word for it, and apparently it's drastically cut down. Although I'm led to believe that they're going to be releasing free DLC, free courses, as the game goes on, as the months and years go by. So you kind of, your courses do get beefed up a little bit. And if that's the case, fair enough. But it would have been nice to have had them in from the start. But as long as they're going to do it, it doesn't really bother me. I think that's kind of a good thing. It's good that they're not just releasing it and going, well, that's it, that's all you get and see you later. Or even worse, drastically cutting it down and then releasing like courses at like $5, $10 each. At least this way, from what I hear, they're going to be releasing at least some free, and that's a good thing, like I say. So after putting it on, yeah, there's not that many courses, but I've not really studied it too much. The character customization isn't particularly great, so I agree with that. Pretty limited, certainly in comparison to previous years. A couple of things I didn't really like. Maybe I just need to get into them a little bit more and immerse myself into it, and remember that it's just a bit of fun rather than something a bit serious. Because when it comes to golf games, if I want something serious, I've always bought like a Tiger Woods game in the past. If I want something which is a bit of fun and I just want to fool about a little bit, I'll play like Hot Shots Golf or Outlaw Golf or something like that, like a cartoony kind of game. But this to me has always been like the go-to serious golf game. But they've lost a bit of credibility for me with this one. Because, and admittedly, it's part of the side quest you can do, if you like. It's not part of the main game. It's an extra thing. So fair enough. But it's like this, I forget what you call it, does it even say it on here? It says nightclub, yeah, the nightclub, and I think that's what that it's called in the menu. And it's all these extra challenges where you can like hit the golf ball from a certain amount of distance, and all these different, like a checklist that you've got to tick off. But all the characters are really weird. Like the first one I controlled was a really old guy in his old-fashioned golf uniform, and he just looked ridiculous. I mean, he was really old to the point of being 100, and all his animations were like of an old man. It was like almost appealing to kids. You've kind of got to play it to see what I mean. I just thought it looked a bit tacky. And like I say, it's moving away from that kind of serious simulation and getting more arcadey, even though it's kind of been a little bit arcadey in the past anyway. But yeah, just losing a little bit of credibility for me. But the main one, what annoyed me other than that, was the fact that one of the courses in the game, I guess to make up for the fact that there's not as many in this game than there have been in previous years, one of the courses is a map, essentially, or part of a map, from Battlefield 4. So you're essentially having a round of golf on a war zone, or in a war zone. And it looks, I mean, graphically you could say it looks nice, but it's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. It totally, for me, removes any kind of seriousness, any kind of true immersion that you could have of being a professional golfer, or an amateur golfer for that matter. It just doesn't wash with me, I've got to be honest. And I'm not happy with that. But if you turn a blind eye to it, you don't have to play that course, I guess. Turn a blind eye to it and just accept it's a bit of fun. Maybe you can let it slide. But so far, yeah, I will agree with a lot of the reviews and previews that said it's severely cut down. But as I touched upon, hopefully going forward, they'll start to implement a lot of free DLC. And I really do hope they do that as well. So the next game I've got, and this one's sealed, so I can't talk a great deal about it, but I know what it is. It's Wolfenstein, The Old Blood. And yeah, basically the first game that came out, Wolfenstein, which was, or Wolfenstein, was about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years possibly. I had that, pretty good, didn't complete it, or at least not yet completed it. This is not DLC, it's kind of, it's like an addendum, if you like, an extra kind of chapter. I'm not sure if it's connected or not. I think actually, thinking about it, it may be set years before the last game. It's something like that anyway. But for $20, and that's a $20 retail price as well, this is the way to go. Rather than charging, full price $40, $50, $60, that would have been criminal. To charge $20, and I'm guessing it probably would have been, 15 quid in the UK? Maybe 20, maybe they kind of milk the UK and PAL regions like they usually do. So I think that's sensible. It's a decent-sized game by all accounts. Graphically, it looks exactly the same as the previous game. So really looking forward to it. And this really, if I'm honest, is what Zombie Army Trilogy should have been. Not a full-price game, $20, $25, maybe $30, but any more than that is a little bit silly. So really looking forward to playing that. And that's that. And then last but not least is a game which I had on the PlayStation 4. I did a gameplay video of it, and you can check that out if you're so inclined. That was at least a year ago, I think. A little bit more. And that game is Sniper Elite 3. Now, this one actually came, much like when I picked up the PlayStation 4 version, this comes in the Collector's Edition, and this kind of is more of a true Collector's Edition. A lot of times you see these collectors and limited editions, and they're not really that limited at all, or collectible, because there's thousands, millions out there. And sometimes it's harder to find the standard release than it is the limited and collector edition of a game, and which is absolutely stupid. So it comes with a little slipcover here. There's a load of stuff inside. Like I say, I'm not going to get it all out because I've done this before, but the PlayStation 4 version about a year and a half ago, there or thereabouts. So I'm pleased to get that. And as I touched upon before, made by Rebellion, who do the Zombie Army Trilogy one. So it's the same game, the same mechanics, and yeah, it's just a really good game. So that's that, kind of 5 but 6 if you include that Sherlock Holmes game, which is at the bottom there, looking a little bit all crookedy with its bent case. So yeah, there we are. There's the sides, the spines, which you all love to see. And I've said this before, and I will say it many times in the future. I'm really kind of on the fence. It's a bit of a love-hate relationship with these Xbox One spines, because to me they're a little bit too bland. I do like the green. It looks quite nice, kind of, front view. But when it comes to them all mixed up like this, I'm just not really convinced. It's dominated, obviously, by a grey background, predominantly white text, and the colours you usually get are red, as you can see, it's pretty prevalent, and the odd bit of yellow on there, kind of mixing in with my t-shirt there. So you get the occasional bit of blue, very sporadic. I think, actually, does this... Yeah, in fact, you can't really see it, but at the bottom of PGA, the little emblem there, little tiny bit of blue. And one of the Forza games, I think it's Forza Horizon 2, has a tiny bit of pink on there, maybe where it says Horizon or something. But other than that, it's just predominantly grey, white, red, and yellow, and I'm not really happy with that. I know we haven't got an art display here, like I say, it's all about the games, it really is, but at the same time, you want them lined up, you want them to look good, and I do prefer the PlayStation 4 boxes. I know it shouldn't matter, and it does, but it doesn't. It's a really weird one, but anyway, whatever. At this moment in time, the fact is, I'm preferring my Xbox One over my PlayStation 4. Don't get me wrong, the PlayStation 4 is a brilliant system, I really, really like it. There's the tin thing as well. So yeah, I'm really liking the PlayStation 4. It's an amazing system, but I don't know, I'm just preferring the Xbox One. And in a really weird way, you know how... It's one of the reasons why I like the Sega Saturn. I do prefer the PlayStation, the original PS1. But one of the reasons I really like the Saturn is because it had a really rough ride. And it's that thing about, maybe it's a very British thing, I don't know, but, where you support the underdog. And because the Xbox One has had such a very, very rough ride, and that's an understatement, I kind of almost prefer it in a way. Even though I know the PlayStation 4 is better, and I've got one, so it's not like I'm missing out. And I don't have any brand loyalty or anything like that, but I kind of prefer the Xbox One. I prefer the controller and the fact that it's the underdog. And Xbox, Microsoft are really paying the price, or have been up until recently, for their catastrophic, and it was, E3 from like 2 years ago. It was a disaster. And I think that is basically the main reason why they're struggling in comparison. I mean, look, they're still selling millions of games and consoles. Don't feel too sorry for them. They're rich. But obviously the PlayStation 4 is well ahead. So, yeah, kind of paying the price for bad marketing, a bad press conference, just a bad way of presenting their new system. And of course, they've changed a lot since then. And to me, that's another thing with the Xbox. I'm not bashing the PlayStation. Again, I want to stress it's a brilliant system. I've got it. I love it. All the rest of it. But to me, maybe because they've got more to prove, more to lose as well. So what I find from Xbox, Microsoft, is that they are pandering more to their fans. They're releasing more updates and evolving a little bit more, putting more things out there, more options, increasing capacity of graphics and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to get too in-depth with it because I haven't got a clue what I'm bloody talking about. But they just seem to be doing a little bit more right now. And I think Sony are dare I say, maybe resting on their laurels, being a little bit smug, because they've sold so many and probably will continue. They know they've kind of won the war, or at least won the battle, so they're not really doing much. They don't need to. You know, Xbox, Microsoft have got everything to prove. So anyway, I don't know, maybe that's a load of nonsense, but I guess that's maybe for another day as well. The fact of the matter is, I prefer the Xbox One right now, but in the past I prefer the PlayStation 4, and in the future I may prefer the PlayStation 4. It's just good news for gamers, isn't it? Whether you're a PlayStation fan or an Xbox fan, it's just good that we've got two really good systems out there, and does it really matter at the end of the day? I think it's good to have that healthy kind of rivalry. So anyway, there we are. A few games, really pleased. You can see in the corner over there, I've actually got quite a lot of Xbox One games, and maybe around about Christmas I'll do a collection vid, by which time that was probably will have doubled, I guess, that collection, which is pretty silly. I must have about 20, 25 games now. It's quite a lot. So anyway, until then, thanks for watching, and, well, not until then, because that Christmas video is going to be at Christmas. Until my next vid, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.